One.
Welcome everyone to another podcast of Adeel Pirzada podcast. Today we got another exciting episode and we got a real interesting guest. But before I introduce our guest, I want to introduce Kevin. Thanks, Kevin, for being here at the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me, Adeel. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Okay, so today we got our guest. She's all the way from Toronto. Her name is Alka Sharma. She's been in real estate for quite some time, and she's making a great progress with her career in real estate. We got an intro for her. Kevin, I'll let you handle that.
Yes, so I'm so happy to be here be and also be have a great friend and someone I've known for a while now. Her name's Alka Sharma. I almost said shawarma like the donator for a second. Well, yeah, she
Well, I like shawarma.
yeah, she's a real estate investor in Toronto. Recently sold her a successful gym in Toronto and sold it, and now she's deep into real estate. She has a great podcast where she interviews business owners and entrepreneurs called Ask the Experts with Alka. So catch her podcast. It's going to be all over social media. And today we're going to be talking about real estate and business with her.
Welcome, Elka. Thanks for being here today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Adeel. I am doing great, but thank you so much for having me on. It's so good to be here with you both.
No, we truly appreciate you for being here and we welcome you to our show.
Let me just introduce Pircon.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we kind of skipped a step for a sec, but I just want to introduce our company, Pircon Group. We provide commercial construction and design and general contracting services. So if you are tuning into this podcast and you're interested and you find a need in terms of building a new business or even developing a real estate property such as like a multifamily a complex or building, feel free to send us a message. We're actually working on some great projects that you'll hear soon. Our website's pircongroup.com. I'll put the link down below in the comments or in the description, and you could go there to learn more.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, Alka, back to you. So yeah, thanks a lot for being here. Our show is all about real estate, construction. We talk about a lot about construction that obviously gets connected to real estate and it's about entrepreneurship and businesses, small businesses. So thanks for being here. It's I think you got quite a story and we're really interested to find out all the details. So tell us, like, how did you get into the business world? Like, where did you first start? What was your first move?
Absolutely. There always needs to be a start. There always needs to be for people to really get to, first of all,
Mm.
you need to know, okay, what really excites you? What is your passion? And oftentimes your passion could also lead into a business. So how did I get into the business world? What was the inspiration? And Adil, my father was the biggest inspiration for me. My father, being in the medical profession, he's a doctor, but he had an intellect when it came to business. He was he was very business savvy, and he would always, teach me, advise me. And as a result, watching my father, and oftentimes we have parents, that are entrepreneurs themselves, or we see our parents and what they have done to, even when they come to a particular country and how they work so hard to really make themselves and provide for their families. So for me, it was watching my father and what an inspiration he was, that really shaped my life. And so the first business that I got into that I had was I decided to open a gym. Now,
Wow.
Adil, I had no
Mm.
experience in the health and fitness industry, no experience. But I knew that I had a calling, and that calling was to help inspire other women. It doesn't matter your shape, your size, but I knew that based on my story, and now I had struggled with weight challenges my entire life. I knew that when I changed my life, the whole trajectory of my life just changed. I got confident. And then when I opened my studio, was just another stepping stone to like how the potential, we all have potential, whether to start a business, so that is what led me to
Mm.
start my first venture into a business. And then real estate came because I owned a condo as well, whilst I had my studio. So it was just a very easy transition for me. So that time came when it was during COVID. And so 2020 is when I sold my studio.
Okay,
Nice.
so how long did you have the gym for?
For 6 years, I
Oh,
ran a very
wow.
successful boutique
Wow.
fitness studio in Toronto. So, women, and I created that environment, Adeel, because I created an environment that women can feel comfortable. They don't have to be ashamed of their size, their
Right.
body, but just creating the environment. And it was such a gratifying, beautiful feeling that I created this environment for women to really experience, to just be there, be comfortable, and just work out. And all of them actually just really reach their potential, reach their goals, and it was so beautiful to see that.
That's amazing. That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Helping out, in a way, like that's what business really means. That if you really find your passion and you can find a way to earn money within
Hmm.
your passion, is just this is the best thing that can happen to you.
Absolutely.
So, what
100%.
were you doing prior to that, Alka, before your first business? Were you working? You had a full-time job?
I did. I was working 9 to 5. I was working downtown, traveling constantly downtown. And I was working retail. But, there came a point that, I was getting exhausted just,
Mm.
working for someone. And I realized, traveling downtown, even during winter, it wasn't really fun. But working for someone it wasn't suited for me. And, so I knew that there had to be a way out that I could really be my own person. I could really do what I wanted in my time. And that's where the business side
Mm.
came, because then I wanted to venture and work for myself, so that gave me more fulfillment, and that just gave me a, a potential that I knew I could do, and I could be my own person. I could have my own schedule. So I was working real estate, but I wasn't really satisfied what I was doing.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like you're not hitting where, like, I've heard this before. We all have our potential, and
Hmm.
sometimes we're not happy because if we're not reaching our potential or even getting close to it. So if you're doing something and you feel like you can do something better and your use is somewhere else that could be better
Hmm.
utilized, that's where you kind of know that this is not the right thing for you. Maybe your energy should be spent. And I think I actually use that. I kind of say that if we're not living our purpose, we're kind of not being fair to ourselves and our
Hmm.
family and our friends and you know what, the country, like you in society. You're
Right.
not being fair. If someone has a potential to be, like an astronaut or like an engineer, and he ends up getting a job at at a coffee shop, it's a complete dishonesty with yourself. You have
Hmm.
a potential to go so much higher. You owe so much to the society now because
Right.
maybe you were that one out of the billion people that who should be really great at certain thing that is harder for other people to achieve, but you're
Hmm.
restricting yourself by being lazy or whatever the case is, doing
Right.
something else that is not really worth your potential. You could go
Hmm.
higher and do better. So that's amazing to hear that that you made a choice where it wasn't comfortable for you, wasn't something where you wanted, and you put your energy somewhere that was more meaningful. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So
Adeel, can I just bounce on what you just said?
yeah, for sure.
Because, I also feel that, why people don't settle for that second best. Like if you're an engineer, like you said, but they work at a coffee shop, because, I feel that people, um, they don't want to be selfish. Oh, but you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay doing this. But if you're okay doing that, that's fine. But if you know you have the potential to go so much higher, you have the potential to do so much better, why do people then settle for less? So I think it comes down to either they feel insecure in some ways, or they feel that, other people can do this. I'm going to leave it for them, but I don't think I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to being insecure. And I think that insecurity feelings then kind of hold us back rather than sort of propelling us forward to excel on our dreams, to excel on our potential, to excel and really reach that higher level of success that we want to have, that we know we should have, that we know we can have. But
Right.
we don't, and we settle for less, thinking, oh, but other people are so much better. So I just wanted to share that because
Yeah,
I've seen often that happen.
for sure. No, that's very useful. Exactly. I think like you said, people will think maybe they're being selfish. I think you're being more selfless when you want the growth,
Mhm.
even though you may think the growth is just for you, and you're doing something. Um, like you're adding, maybe let's say the growth is going to get you more money, and now you're it looks like you're more focused on the money, but the reality behind it is actually, if you're not reaching your potential, it actually stops your growth. So it stops your growth in many other levels. If you're not, so let's say if a person has certain type of patience and they're put on a task, they would, maybe like job at a coffee shop, they're only gonna deal that whatever the test that is involved within that business, and what the worst you're going to have, not that much. You're not going to lose millions of dollars because you made one wrong transaction. But if the growth fact is in there, and then you grow and become bigger and bigger, and maybe
Mhm.
you get a job that is makes you highly responsible for the things, and you could make that $1 million mistake. Now your patience level and the way of dealing, your stress level, the how you deal with things and how you finish something, and all of a sudden that increases. That also helps you
Yes.
in many other level in life. That may help you with the dealing with a friend who was being wrong or doing something wrong, and you didn't push them the same way because they did that. You didn't get back to them because you're a bigger person. You have
Mhm.
that patience. You have that growth. So it comes in a very large way. People don't take it that your
Mhm.
work is one third, at least one third of your life. So
Yes.
whatever you do over there, and you learn or progress, or you don't progress, or you whatever you cut corners, that end up becoming also the other two-third of your life.
Exactly. And that is so beautiful said. But then that also comes down to your mindset, which
Right.
is what I'm so passionate about talking about mindset, because mindset is everything. And it also then spills into every other area of your life. Where if your mindset is not channeled in the proper direction, in the
Mm.
proper way, it can rather than sort of propelling you forward for success, it's going to hold you back. You're going to go back 10 steps rather than going 10 steps forward. So, I
Yeah.
think mindset, I believe in having the right mindset, and also people don't see it. What you just said,
Yeah.
people don't see they have that potential. So
Mhm.
once you begin to see that, that's when everything starts to open up. So it's just knowing that what do you have, what do you want, what do you have to offer that is so valuable not only for
Mm,
yourself, not only for your family. I
yeah.
mean, ultimately, right? Ultimately, that is what we are doing, providing for ourselves, for our family. And that is being of value. But then do we see that? Do we see that we have those capabilities, we have the potential within us to achieve and doing so much more?
You actually you remind me of this that talking about mindset is you
Hmm.
shared a post a long time ago and it was like it says I deserve success. And you
Hmm.
posted that. I'm like, whoa, that really connected with me because I did struggle with that at one time where I don't thought I deserve anything good. And when I seen that and it talks about mindset, it reminded me of like deserving is a key to mindset, knowing that you deserve it, that you deserve it.
Absolutely.
You also have to earn it, but also it also comes with believing that I'm like someone is good enough to get it, to
Hmm.
welcome it in. Yeah.
Yeah, like I actually want to talk about mindset and how you see it, but
Yeah.
just my 2 cents on it is it's actually like we talk about it all the time within our team meetings that it's about manifesting, right, in your head.
Yeah,
If
yeah, for
if
sure.
you want something,
Yeah.
you have to think about it over and over and over again. And I think for people that may have struggled with mindset, maybe they should practice that. That creates the mindset. If something an idea that is not getting into you
Hmm.
because it's new, because you've been told all your life something else, if
Yeah.
if that's the right idea, you need to be told that. Like maybe you need to hear that 15 times in a day, but it
Hmm.
needs to be kind of penetrated into your body
Yeah.
by repetition, and that's what it is. So talking about that, like what do you see like a mindset, like how someone can build a mindset of growth?
Well, first of all, let's take a look at the definition. What is mindset? So, your mindset is your set of beliefs, it's your perception about life, and
Hmm.
oftentimes this is ingrained in us from our families, from society, in our
Yeah.
environment, right? That we get sucked into. And so it's our
Yeah.
perception, it's our beliefs. And I love what Napoleon Hill says, that what your mind can conceive and you believe, if we believe, whether wrong or right, we will achieve. So
Mhm.
those results, whether it's the positive or negative, we will achieve. And that is so powerful because our brain, our mind is a powerful but a complex tool. And how we utilize our mind every single day, 24/7, 365. And it is so important. So what I feel that when it comes to the mindset, how if a person, and this is from your paradigms is nothing but your habitual behaviors that we have been conditioned from our family, society, your environment. And so your environment, Adeel, plays an important part. We know it plays a very, very important part. People that are around you, who supports you, who doesn't support you. So from a very early age, we get indoctrinated into, oh, but we need to be doing this. Oh, but you can't do this. Oh, but you can't say that. So our mind, we absorb everything. And so what I feel is that what needs to happen for a person to grow and get out of how they've been programmed. And I had to do this. I had to train myself. And it wasn't easy. And in life, life is never an easy road. It's always like a curveball. But it's how do we get over that curveball, that we're on that right track. So I think it's just how do we, your question was, how can a person grow and get out
Right.
of the
Certain
mindset that they
belief.
were in?
Yeah. Yeah. Like people will have this boundary, this restriction that they think certain way, and it's really
Mhm.
hard to, like, I mean, to turn them the other way. So, like, if someone's struggling with that, right? I have seen people that, they would call it a failure before it even happens, and the actual failure will happen. And then,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
they
told you,
attract it. They attract the failure.
see, I told
They're
you.
attracted.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there is a part where the reality of the things are the way they are. But what, in your definition, like, what do you mean a mindset? So, like, let me give you an example, and because you could get it wrong. So, someone says knows nothing about real estate, knows nothing about lending and how the whole thing works, and never spend time, and just just wakes up one day and says, I created my mind. I told, I trained my mind that now I'm going to become, a millionaire. How would you take that apart from someone who actually has like, how would you distinguish between the mindset here? Like, how can someone have a mindset that it will actually happen, and then there's the mindset that doesn't actually make things happen?
Mm.
Right. So is what essentially what I will say is that your mindset is your set of beliefs. Is what do you believe about you? The first interview I had with Kevin, and we talked about success. I mean, the success is, do you believe? As the saying, and I absolutely love the saying about Napoleon Hill, what your mind conceives, what you internalize, what your mind conceives, and what do you believe? So your mindset is your set of beliefs, is your perception about your environment, about your life. And if you feel that your set of beliefs is you can achieve success, you can't and go into this particular business, any endeavor, if you go into that mindset straight off, like you said, if you're going to say to yourself, and you wake up in the morning, oh, but I'm going to fail today, or I am not going to be successful in this podcast, or I'm not going to be successful in my day today. If you keep saying that, if a person keeps on saying that, then obviously that's what's going to happen. And as what Kevin just said, you attract your
Mm.
feelings. You attract everything that you're saying, you're thinking, and the actions that you take. The actions, if you say to yourself in your mind, again, your mindset, what is your mindset? It's nothing but your set of beliefs. It's what you believe about you that says a lot about you. If you enter into a room, you go anywhere, and oh my gosh, you're so timid, you're so, that means you don't have confidence. But then how do you exude confidence? Comes down to your beliefs. What do you believe
Yeah.
about you? So I would say that's how you can get out of being in that mindset of failure, and you feel and you say to yourself, but I'm not achieving success, to then just affirming to yourself. And
Right.
this is how you will slowly get out.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. You have some good points there. I want to jump in. I know this is all about Alka, but I love this topic. And I know you, Adeel, was asking about um, what about someone who just believes that they're going to be a millionaire versus someone maybe who is?
Mhm.
I think law of attraction is powerful, but it is nothing without action. A lot of
Absolutely.
people, like, I used to think, or not me, I don't think that, I wouldn't say that's accurate about me, but I see people, they just meditate their whole life and they expect they'll get results.
Hmm.
But then they have this great belief. I know a friend, he just meditates all the time, but he doesn't act on his meditations. So it saddens me, but I know he could be so great, solely truly successful if he acted on
Hmm.
his dreams and what he's seen in those meditation sessions, and like put it into action. So
Hmm.
So
yeah, for
And
mindset
sure.
first
that's
thing.
a great point. That's a great point. Sorry, Deal. Yes.
Yeah, so mindset is the first thing, and then there is an action that's required as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
Kevin's point, that's a very good point, Kevin. And there were a lot of people, and I was just talking to a friend who knows a friend. And it's the same concept, Kevin, that you just said about that, you want to have that millionaire mindset. You want to say that, oh, you're a millionaire. But if you say, okay, so as I said, thinking, feeling, and acting on those principles, but then if you're meditating, now meditating is great. It's a great tool. It's a great modality to do. I mean, I
Mm.
I do that. I didn't think that I was the kind to do meditation, but anyway, I do. But if you are meditating, meditation is not going to get you the results. What is going to get the result is taking action. But then if you're meditating, but then you're thinking, again, it comes down to your mindset. Are you thinking lack? Are you thinking, oh,
Mm.
I'm broke? Oh, are you
Yeah, yeah,
thinking I don't have money to
right.
invest in certain things? If you're thinking lack every single day, 24/7, 365, what good is meditation? Meditation is just a
Mm.
tool. Is a tool to be inspired. It's a tool that's going to open your mind, absolutely 100%.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you, it comes down to your thinking, it's your thoughts. So again, your
Mm.
mindset. How is your mindset? What do you believe about you? Do you believe about you that you'll lack? Do you believe about you that you don't have, you're not going to have enough? So it comes down to your perception and your beliefs about everything that you stand for, that you see in yourself, good or bad.
Right. So, like, okay, so my next question is like, how could someone change their mindset? If we all have mindset and belief system about certain things, how can you practically change it?
You can change your mindset. Like I said, I was in that shoe. And I would say to myself, whenever I came to the point that I said, oh, but I don't feel good enough, or I'm not worthy of certain things. How I began to change my mindset is and I began to affirm. And affirmations are absolutely powerful because affirmations, when I began to affirm to myself that I am worthy of success. I am worthy of in making
Mm.
investments. I am worthy. And when you can start to affirm to yourself every single day, this is where the power to changing your mindset to how you were programmed, to thinking you were lacking, to thinking that you are not good enough. And why we think to ourselves that we are not good enough is because we've been indoctrinated in our past.
Okay.
So that is your paradigms. Your paradigms is nothing but your habitual behaviors that we have all been sucked into once upon a time from our family, from our
Right.
environment. And then how I began to change was to affirm to myself the potential that I have. I'm worthy, I am good. And seeing that, holding yourself in a positive light really begins to shift everything about you in that moment.
Yeah, one tip I have for listeners and what I have learned, if you want to change your mindset, and thanks Alka for your feedback on that. I was actually uh, exactly what I would think about changing the mindset. And the tip that I would give is that read books. So whatever, if you have a certain mindset about success, about becoming big or doing something big, maybe
Mhm.
read about people, those people that who have reached there, and learn something from them, like what was their mindset and how did they get there, right? And then you can do them in many ways by reading books, by reading articles, by listening to audio podcast, and there's so many things now that you can collect from the internet that can actually make an impact changing your mindset.
Absolutely, yes. Using those resources is a great way because how have people achieved success? What was their method? What was their methodology that they like where they were to how they've gotten to a place of success. And role models is a great way too, and that will help you to get out of the rut that you are in, to really making sure that, okay, where does your life need to go, what do you need to do, and how can you get there. We can get there faster by the role models that we have, people that we see, people that we want to emulate. And I agree with that. Emulation is a key part to being the success that you want to be.
Right, right. Okay. So Alka, here's a tricky question, right? And I kind of been asked that question before. And I have my own version of the answer. If someone got a right mindset, okay, they know this is what
Mhm.
they want, and they're really hopeful and really active on their dream and this goal, and they've seen other people achieve it, and they're making
Right.
the effort every day, but they're not getting the result. What would you say if there's something wrong with their mindset, or it's something that maybe they need to make changes? Let's say they're trying their best and they got the right mindset. They spent some time and they're not getting the results.
If they're doing everything and it comes down to, are you taking those actions? Okay. So having the thoughts and, you're feeling that you are successful, you're feeling, because your subconscious mind is nothing, is coming from your emotional and your feeling mind. So we think from our conscious or your subconscious mind, and your subconscious is where we start to reprogram to where we want to be. Okay, because our habitual ways, which is our paradigms, so
Mm-hmm.
your subconscious is kind of dictates to where we want to be. So if someone who's taken all, is feeling everything and they're thinking they want to reach success, but they haven't gotten the success right now, is you need to take action, and you need to take massive actions to really see the results that you want to see. You really want to escalate to the success that you want to see. So what I
Mm.
will say, and I have done this, I have seen that when I have taken the success, and there were times when I wasn't doing enough. I was doing everything right, my mindset, and I was doing everything, but I wasn't doing enough. And again, it comes down to your potential. Do you then start to believe in your potential and you have the capabilities of doing so much more? Or then when, and Adeel, this often happens because this happened to me, and when I began to shift myself. So that moment came when I was doing so well. And then we get frightened, then we get scared. Oh my gosh, did I really, can I really achieve that success? And we get limited in our thinking, and then we kind of fall down. And then that's what happened to me about good 10 years ago. And I really got scared, and that kind of brought me down. In the sense, it kind of brought me down in some of my mindset. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that was the pivotal moment. Is then, and this is the paradigms again, because your paradigms controls our mindset, controls our behaviors. And your paradigm, the moment that success comes in, like we are here
Mm.
and we want to go up there, so that's a success. Your paradigm will come in and it will knock you out, and it will say, oh no, you're not achieving that success. Oh no, you're not going to achieve this today. And then we listen to that mind over matter, and we listen to that part of our mind that kind of knocks us out, and then we listen, and then we don't take actions. So is then, but the tricky part is Adeel, is how do we get rid of the paradigms? How did I do that? How did I get rid of the paradigms? And I had to now reprogram, rewire myself, my thoughts, my mind, to say, affirmations was absolutely 100%. I was doing affirmations. And then that really took me out to, where my mindset was, when what I was thinking. and then taking those actions. Really, we need to take massive actions and don't listen to the paradigms that will just stop us in our tracks to getting to where we want to be.
Yeah. I actually truly believe one of the things about this whole thing, and I don't know, I just kind of made it in my own head, but this is how I kind of explain it. To around what we're talking about. I feel like that in the universe, so you got to have the mindset, right? So,
Mm-hmm,
but everything is energy, okay? So
mm-hmm,
every thought, every word, every action is energy, okay? If you spend, it's like how much you're spending where the energy is, right? Whether
mm-hmm.
the action or the thought or the words are negative, that's where
Right.
you have the negative energy. And if they're
Yes.
positive, then you got the
Mm-hmm,
positive energy.
mm-hmm.
Now, that energy itself, it's strong enough that it gets you going, sure. But it has to be really strong, because even you got all it, right? So you're all positive and you're doing the right thing, but you keep getting and being hit it with failure one after the other.
That
And
roadblock.
you hear those stories a lot from like the new, entrepreneurs starting the business. Now there's a lot of reasons, you don't know a lot of things and you're learning and all that stuff, but I truly feel like there is a resistance in this. The universe is not accepting you because it needs to see it that you are good enough. Like, are you that motivated guy who heard this one speech and of Tony Robbins, and now you're like all pumped up and you think you're gonna change the world, and you're like, I got positive energy and I got the right mindset, and look, I'm taking action. I'm up 5 a.m. and blah blah blah, whatever the book said or the script said. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
all that, and then you go for it, and then you get failure, and you get all bumped, and then you're like, this isn't working. Like, this isn't for me, or this is too hard. Or I think that's a test from the universe. It's like, are you strong enough? Like, you'll
Yeah,
get success, but not yet. We need to see you're good enough, right? So I
Right.
for
truly
sure.
kind of believe in that, because it's
Yeah.
so hard. Like, you get everything right that you can, and then certain things still don't move like the way you would want it to,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
you would think like, what is going on? you know but I think it's having the mindset and the action behind is just not enough. You got to also have the patience to stick
Mm-hmm.
around to have that happening for you.
And that is so true. And to add to your point, I love it. Patience. Now, patience is for most of us. We don't have patience. We want everything right now.
Right.
And if we don't have it right now, if we don't get it right now, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Why haven't I got it? Well, like you said, Adeel, is the universe conspires, and the universe, it loves energy because we are all energy, and how we feed off of the energy from one person to another. The universe absolutely loves, and why. And I like to know so much about the universe, about the energy, because we are all energy.
Right.
And what I find is the patience is absolutely 100%. You got to have the patience because everything is timed. And I used to always get bogged down. The old part of me would say, well, I'm doing so much. We just talked about, like, I'm doing so much, and how come it's not happening for me?
Right.
And then we need to realize that is everything is timed. And I so believe in this, the karma, dharma, everything is timed. What you do in this present life and how you do behave in your thoughts, feelings, and actions, but your behaviors is another component, and your behaviors, which is your karma. How are you behaving in this lifetime? So the universe or the higher
Hmm.
power or God, whatever term we want to choose, is watching, and God, your higher power, will only give to you if he knows you are worthy of presenting in success, presented in anything.
Hmm.
So what are we doing in this current life, in our present life? How are we behaving? How are we acting? How is our thoughts? Are we in tune with our thoughts and our mind? So let me give an example. So, say you wake up in the morning and, someone just kind of rubs you the wrong way. And now that feeling you hold on to your whole day. So, say, Kevin, someone rubbed you the wrong way and you come into work and now you're angry with Adeel. Adeel doesn't know what happened to you, but we hold on to, right?
Yeah.
We hold
Right.
on to we hold on to those emotions
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
for
whole
sure.
life. And that was me. I was that person. So I do attest to this. But how then do we then change is just knowing, and it's just that energy that we just need to, and the tools that changed me when I was feeling that I was feeling hot inside, that I'm about to say something, I just pause and I just take that deep
Yeah.
breath, right? Before I go into work, I just
Mm.
take that deep breath, and this just calms me. Internally, it just calms me. And when I do that, that is so powerful for me. And now I do that every single day, no matter where I'm going to be. The moment I know I'm about to get hot inside, that I just reflect, I just calm down
Mm.
and close my eyes hmm, and I feel good. I feel good, and then that's it. Then that I just start my day off in the right way.
Yeah, I feel like we're too sudden about our behaviors and decisions. Like we want things right away, and if we have a certain feeling, we want that feeling to be expressed or whatever that is, or the anger to right away, like you take it
Mhm.
on. But I think if you sleep over a lot of things in life, things start getting better, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly. Sleep over, think about it.
yeah,
Even when you're writing a message,
yeah.
Yeah, for
pause,
sure.
And
right?
Yeah, yeah. Like writing the
Pause.
message the next day or something. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
email. Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Don't write anything if
funny,
you're
like
tired,
when I
if you're
uh,
angry.
like starting Pircon, like every new startup, right? Every new business entrepreneurship, it's like learning so many things and
Hmm.
so many challenges, right? So, and construction is the worst business to be. Like, I do not recommend anyone to have a construction business unless they're truly in love with construction, unless they want headache and abuse in their life. Like, I mean, don't want it. It's completely it's different. Like all the businesses are one business. Like you got to deal with them,
Hmm.
whether it's a lawyer, dentist, chiropractor, like whatever the soft businesses, and then construction itself is like the business because where you got to handle all the business stuff and then you got to handle the whole construction thing. And there's so many
Right.
things about construction. There's like a life-threatening safety issues, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
So it's not only like someone knows how to do the job, it's like someone knows how to do it safely as well, without
Yes.
hitting themselves and falling. And there's so many things.
Hmm.
But what I was going to talk about is that in the beginning, like I hired people and they'll come work and some of these construction people they're very like temporarily and then they got certain mindset as well, so they kind of
Hmm.
follow that and you don't know who's good and who's not, and then they'll make promises and they'll not show up the next day or run away with the money. So I dealt with that a lot, like, and I was traveling to different places too and building places, and it was very tough. And it was like, hey, I'm just angry pretty much all the time, like what's going on. So I would write messages at someone did something, and then I would write message and I wouldn't send it because it just escalate things and then I would have to deal with after. So I had
Right.
either I'm going to deal with it or not deal with it. That's
Hmm.
how I kind of look, and I'm only dealing with certain things that I actually want to build a relationship and I want to help them out. If they're
Right.
incorrect, I want to correct them because it's for the growth. If somebody
Yeah.
is correct, and I don't even want to spend my energy telling them something if they're not even interested in listening.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
would write messages and I wouldn't send it, and until the next day. If it really meant something and if it was really powerful, where the both parties are getting benefited, then I would send
Hmm.
something, and otherwise I'll just delete the message. So that's a one way of kind of dealing with your emotions, or if you're feeling something, you're angry, you don't want it out right away. Maybe write it
Yeah.
and then hold on to it, right?
Hold
Think
on to.
And then if you're still feeling the same way and you still feel like, okay, this is then your gut is there, something has been done really wrong, you need to speak up, right?
That's when I know, like, just to add on to that, it's like I think there's a difference between a reaction and a response. And
Right.
a reaction would be so fast, and a response is just like thought out. They know the impact, and it's like well thought out strategy. So
Hmm.
reaction, response, two different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. It's like, you could be proactive or you could be reactive in
Yeah.
any given situation, right? How do we, you could be proactive. You could listen to what someone has said to you. If they've given you the constructive feedback, are you proactive? Are you listening? Or you don't want to listen to what people have said to you. You don't listen to their opinions. You don't want to listen to their ideas because now you're getting reactive.
Yeah.
And that is never a good place to be when you react. And when, we react most of the time. And people, I find, Adeel, people don't want to listen to anyone because
Yeah.
we all have our own opinions. Oh, but don't tell me what to do. And I'm sure in the construction, like I said, it's got to be challenging because you're going to have employees who don't want to listen. They're probably saying, well, I think I know what I'm doing, and don't tell me what I need to do
Yeah.
because I'm proficient. But then that's where the challenge comes. And I'm sure that's what happens. But people are they're quick to react.
Yeah. There is a triple L that I'm learning about business. Is so three L's. So the first one is learning. So whatever you're doing in a business, first you got to learn it yourself, right? You
Hmm.
can't teach someone how to paint or how to install a door if you don't know it yourself. So you got to so there's like three stages of a business. So first you got to learn everything. Not
Mm.
everything has to be learned by you, but there got to be someone in the team who's making things happen, whether it's you, and obviously for startup businesses is the founder who's learning and absorbing everything and then applying it. So first you learn it, and if it serves people, if it makes money, great, you got a business. So you learned, you got the first L. The second is leverage. So once you have learned it, now you got to teach other people so you can get leverage. So
Right.
now if you know how to paint, hire two people, show them how to paint so they can do the painting, so you don't have to do it, and maybe you can do the invoicing or whatever. And once you have done that, so you got the two L's now, and then you're still not done there. The journey doesn't end. It's not like, hey, I know what to do and I taught two people what to do, so we got a stable business. No, that's not good enough. You need the
Yeah.
third L, which is um so you got the learning, you got the leverage, now the leadership. Now
Right.
you got
Yeah.
to lead the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing. And that is the hardest thing to do because you may have to you may have to bite your tongue sometimes because you want to get to the bigger goal, and not
Yes.
everything's worth discussing, not everything's worth taking that headache or or that
Hmm.
stress. So it's like you want to make sure you move in the direction where it benefits everybody, and that's the hardest thing to do because learning is easy and teaching someone and getting them to learn is easy, but staying on that path is the hardest thing, right? It's like,
Yes.
okay, you can paint the wall or whatever it is once right, second
Yeah.
time right. There is a time you're going to screw up or something will go wrong. How do you continue the quality all along? That's what makes the huge difference, and that comes into leadership. The person who is driving the boat, whatever is driving, it's that person has to have an ability that they
Hmm.
can keep the talent, keep running in a same direction and faster by day, right? So
Hmm.
that's the hardest thing to do.
It definitely is a very, being a leader, it requires a lot, it requires a skill set, your talent, but it is a skill. And, you're not a me leader, you're a we leader because you're leading the entire team. And you can only be a we leader when you are a me leader, when you know how to manage yourself, when
Right.
you have, and managing yourself, being a me leader first and foremost, comes down to your mindset. How is your mind? How are you? How is your mind? How are you managing your mind? Because as I said, your mind is a complex but a powerful tool. It's a tool. Do we use our mind the right way, the right channel? And when we use our mindset, are we
Mm,
calm in those situations? And when you are calm in yourself first, okay, so that's a me leader. Are you
Mhm.
calm? Are you able to be compassionate? Are you empathetic to not only to yourself, but to your team members? Are
Right.
you empathetic? And those are the skill sets, I believe, Adeel, that really sets an individual apart because it starts from being a me leader. And if you don't have those skills, you can't be a we leader. How can you lead an organization? How can you lead a team? How can you lead your team members to helping them to achieving their goals and their missions, to achieving their life of purpose, to achieving their life of success? Because everyone, like I said, has the potential, has the capabilities. But if you don't recognize that in yourself first and all the skills, it doesn't matter. That we leadership will not matter. It will crumble,
Right.
in my humble opinion, is going to crumble because you, I didn't do that groundwork. I didn't lay that foundation to see, where am I lacking? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And the weaknesses we need to polish. We need to sharpen on those weaknesses to enable the strengths in ourselves first to shine through so that we can start to help our team members, our employees, and the organization as a whole to thrive and survive and to yield success.
Yes, 100%. Very wise words, Alka. Okay, Alka, I'm not sure if Kevin got any question about mindset, because I wanted to move from mindset to the next set of things that we want to discuss with you.
yeah, I would actually, yeah, before we move, actually maybe for the next couple of questions the deal has, I'm really interested in any personal examples in the, just as we share in the next whatever a deal has. I'd really love to hear, and maybe the audience would love to hear some personal examples as well.
So actually, my question, so the next
Yeah,
phase is kind of connected to the mindset. So
yeah.
I just wanted to set the foundation, right? So like mindset is very important. It's the first thing on the list, and then have your actions. And I think what I
Mhm.
added on later, which you also highlighted, is the patience is required. So once you have those two, make sure you're fully strong on your belief. You're keep following.
Mhm.
It'll happen. It takes time.
It takes
Now,
time.
moving that, right? So you're really strong on mindset, right? Now, what your other skill that you have, so on the business end of the things, you're a real estate investor. You purchase real estate, you buy properties, you do joint ventures, you buy luxury homes, buy
Yeah.
multifamily. So there's different things you're doing with real estate. Actually,
Mhm.
this would be a perfect example that Kevin is looking for. How have you applied that to your real estate business, your mindset? Because what I understand, it's
Mm,
not like you came from a real estate firm or you were a real estate agent before. You completely had different, you had a different kind of work than you were in gym industry, and then you had that business, which is completely different from real estate. So adopting a
Right.
new business just recently and becoming good at that, how much wine play has played a role, and how did you exactly do it?
That is a beautiful question. That's $1 million question.
Awesome.
But you know what? Everything stems down to, of course, I mean, it is a mindset. And for me, what was the defining, like, what's the difference between when I decided to venture into opening my fitness studio And what was the venture between getting into real estate and being a real estate investor? The combining, the combination, the element, the common denominator between the two is the mindset, is the entrepreneurial spirit, is the is knowing, is the belief that I have, that I had, that I am going to make it a success. Because as I said, my fitness studio, I had a ran successful fitness studio for the past 6 years. And I was based on my
Nice.
story. But that just solely came about because I had the belief in myself. I had no experience with the health and fitness industry, but I knew that I wanted to open a studio to inspire
Yeah.
other women. But I knew I had that belief. So to having the success, it comes down to the common denominator, the common value is your belief. So if you don't
Yeah.
have the belief, then I would not have made it a success for 6 years. Then
Right.
it wouldn't even started. It wouldn't have taken off. But because I knew straight from the get-go, I'm going to build a studio. And even before the construction phase was happening, I knew that I saw this dream. And
Mm.
and so even without having a dream is one thing, but to knowing that you're going to make it a success in any endeavor comes down to your belief. How strong of a belief do you have inside?
Mm.
So these two examples, the real estate industry and the fitness studio, came down to my belief. And that was such a swift transition.
What did you do to, because so it sounds like you started off with no experience, but you had the
Mhm,
mindset. What
right?
did you do to learn over time?
Well, I had to learn to really know who I was, because
Okay.
oftentimes we get into endeavors that, like I started in the beginning, your business could start off from your passion or your
Yeah.
hobby, and then you make that into a business. But then it can be a business, it can be a success, or it can be a failure. And why it would be a failure? Because you didn't have that foundation. And the foundation, as we just talked about, starts from you. Do you know you? Do you know your
Right.
strengths that you offer? Do you know your weaknesses that you have? And if you don't know that, and this is what I had to learn, and I still do this every day.
So it
I
sounds like you
learn.
did a self-reflection a bit.
Oh,
That's what you
absolutely,
did.
yes. Absolutely, a self-reflection. And I do this every day. I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do before even writing my goals, I sit down with myself, close my eyes, and I sit down with myself. Who am I today? Who am I? Who is Alka? What does she have to offer that
Mm.
that she can help people? So without that, without knowing who you are, you cannot be the success that you want to be.
Right.
So that
Powerful.
self-reflection.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
Go.
So, so like in real estate, what it sounds like that you now your passion is in real estate, and this is where you invest most of your time.
Mhm.
Do you have a team that you work with, or are you kind of like a solo right now and work with other teams?
I'm solo and I work with other individuals. I do a lot of joint venture partnerships.
Wow.
So I'm always looking to, partner with people. But, a deal again, it stems down to, although I'm a solopreneur, I'm a solo, I'm wearing all the hats that's required. But being being involved, being with a team, working with a team, I never should sort of like shy away, or I never say that, why do I want to learn from other people?
Mm-hmm.
I welcome the learning. I welcome and I embrace that. And I think that's another quality that sets people apart from knowing, okay, what success are you trying to achieve? What success are you going after? And if that's a success that you want, are you a team player? Do you want to be part of a team? And that is also another thing we talked about, a deal that,
Right.
a me leader and a we leader, well, is being part of a team and helping other individuals to rise up, even when you want to rise up. But are you taking other people along with you so that we all rise up?
Yeah, 100%. It's the thing is, like, if you want to be successful in life, you got to be able to get along with people.
Yes.
And one way of doing that is actually if you're making an impact in their life, if they're being positively impacted by your actions or your words or your thoughts, it will make people move, and it will definitely attract them towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. So, whether you got a team, a whole bunch of people, or you work by yourself, you need a lot of people dealing. You need to collaborate with a lot of people. And actually, based on that, I'm like, our not our previous podcast, the one before, we had interviewed, and I referenced that before too, Victor the Connector, and he's all about people, meeting people, and making connections. And one thing I took from him, very important, is that in this day and age, you don't have to know everything yourself. You just need the right people, and you just
Mhm.
need to connect with them. So that becomes very powerful if you have the right mindset and you're focused on what you need, and then you have the
Yes.
skills to get along with people, move
Mhm.
them with you. You can get a lot done in a lot of short period of time.
Absolutely. As I say, you want to go faster to success. Are you going to do it alone, which is going to take you a lot longer, or,
Right.
work with other people, and then you will reach that success so much faster. So it's up to you. It comes down to perception, it comes down to your belief. Oh, I'm okay. Other people are okay working by themselves. But then how do we want to see the progression, slower or quicker?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, that's great, Alka. Actually, a very powerful message about mindset, and how important it is establishing a person or a business, and how much is needed, and
Mhm.
how you apply in your real estate side. I just want to wrap this up. I think we're a little bit over our time. Is there something that you want to mention, like something that we didn't discuss right now, talking about mindset in real estate, for our viewers?
What I will say, and it should be sort of take you should do this every single day, is how to train your mind. And you got to be consistent. Consistency is the key. And so if you do your affirmations, don't do affirmations just the one time and you think you're going to expect everything that you want to come your way. You got to be consistent. Consistency has helped me. Consistency is what I will say that you need to implement, doing that every single day, because
100%.
it takes 67 days
Hmm.
to have a change.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like there is a delay in you. I don't know, we can name it differently, like your manifestation, your prayer, your
Mhm.
mindset, whatever we do, there is a bit of delay, like there is a lag. So again, like talking about mindset, or even someone having negative
Hmm.
things, like sometimes, yeah, things happen right away, but most of the time there is a delay, especially like the bigger the success is, the bigger the goal is, the longer it will take to get there. So until you kind of get there, it seems like you got nothing, right? So
Oh.
there is a delay until you get that. And a lot of people, I think, are not patient, like they just want it right away, and then they're like, well, why is it not happening? And I think we all have that, which is very natural, part of being
We
human.
do.
But one
Hmm.
thing that we should train ourselves, as we're training ourselves for the better mindset, is be able to be consistent with what we're doing and not give up, right? Keep doing,
Yes.
because I see people, like, I'll give you a real estate example, and this is a perfect, actually, thing to talk about that I personally experienced with a lot of my clients is that I have always been this, even when I didn't understand the real estate the way I do today, I was always been the promoter for real estate. Well, this is what I heard and learned, and I had the real estate license. Obviously, I believed in it. And I said, real estate, buy real estate. It's always good. It's always good. Buy real estate. So I had people and motivated them to buy real estate, bought good real estate even. And then,
Mhm.
and then, excuse me, and then they had failure, right? And then, so a one failure, maybe the first property didn't do well. And then they stopped buying. Like they're like, oh my God, I bought this and it was a horrible experience and blah, blah, blah. And I'm actually telling from my own story. I was in the same boat. I bought it too right at that time and I didn't know much. But I guess because I was in the business of real estate, I didn't give up. I didn't let it go. I didn't give up on buying further. I didn't stop myself. Actually, there was a time when I did get it turned off and I did stop for some time, but I continued on the path. And I don't have the same issues that I had before that I had 10 years ago.
Right.
And
Mhm.
this is where it comes in. It's like, hey, having the mindset or making the action is not enough. You just got to stick around. Maybe you just don't know it, right? Like you open a gym business and you plan a certain way. I'm gonna go and advertise it. I'm gonna get certain clients and I'm gonna serve them and I'm gonna make money. If things don't happen that way, doesn't mean you just stop in your journey, because you just need to continue your journey. You got to have that same effort every day. It just
Mhm.
time. Like over time, you learn, and that will go away, and that makes you believe, I think, better and like even harder on this
Right.
mindset. Now you can start imagining things because you have one or two proven records. Now you
Mhm.
can even talk about bigger things and unimaginable things, and they will work out for you. You just have to do that exercise as an exercise.
Exactly. So being patient, patience is the key. Patience is a virtue, like they say. Patience is a virtue. And so I just want to just add on to what you said is so beautiful, is when, the failures will come in. It doesn't matter what endeavor we get into, failure will happen. Is your
Right.
paradigms. As I mentioned, your paradigms, which is your habitual behaviors, which is how we have been indoctrinated. So those paradigms will come in the moment that success is going to come. Your paradigms will set you, will come in the tracks, and will take you off course. And so, what you need to do to stand in your conviction, again, to stand in your belief, do you believe so much in your business that it is going to be a success? Do you
Mhm.
believe so much? And so, having that belief, and what I will share to your viewers is believe in you. If you don't believe in you, then no matter what endeavor you get into, it's not going to happen. But
100%.
having that strong conviction, no, I am going to do this business. I am going to do like my fitness studio. I had
Right.
no idea about the health and fitness industry, but I made it. I made it work because I had that belief going in. Even when the construction phase was happening, I was so excited. So you got to have that excitement to along with the success, along with the belief. You got to be excited. Otherwise, there's no point in doing anything.
Mm.
In my belief, anyway. Why do anything if you're just going to go halfway and then you're going to quit? Because failures will happen, but it is the test that we just talked about. Universe gives you a test,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it gives you a test, right? It gives you a test to say, Kevin, are you going to do this? You are meant to do this. You are meant for good. But
Right.
then is Kevin going to say, oh, I don't think so, or I don't think I can? But then that's where your
Mm.
paradigm comes in. That's how you begin to change your mindset, to reprogram, to rewire your mind, and say, the universe, you're right. I am
Uh,
doing this. I am making a success for me and for everyone around me.
for sure.
Beautiful.
A
Beautiful.
great resource, I just want to leave this, is a book called The Secret.
Mhm.
Whoever likes it or maybe you don't like it, if you're listening, I know for me, it's added a lot of value
Mhm.
in terms of what I attract in my life. It's a great book. It talks exactly about what you're all saying here. So it's a great resource. It's called The Secret.
Thanks a lot.
Exactly. Esther Hicks. Yeah.
Actually, I remember that too. And that's a great book to read. So thank you, Alka. You've been wonderful. Very
Thank you.
informative and useful information that we got from you. I always summarize at the end that what I learned from the podcast. So today, and I think we discuss over and over again. So it's the mindset, very important. And then number two, you need to act on it. So whatever you believe in and whatever you have your strengths are and whatever you want to create, you have to act on it. And then just don't believe in something and act on it. You have to keep believing in it, and which is called patience. So keep doing your work until it happens and knocks your door. So thanks again, Alka. You've been wonderful. We would love to have you again on our podcast. So and then maybe we'll discuss more about more businessy and real estate stuff that you're doing and get into that. But today was a very useful information that we received from you. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Adeel, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me on. I look forward to the next episode, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and before we wrap up, I'll be tagging Alka's social media down below. So if you want to follow her, give her a follow. Her do you have it? Where do you want people to go, Alka? I'm not sure where, but tell them where you want.
Yeah, so they could follow me on Instagram at
Yeah.
Alka Sharma 56.
All right. Okay, and we'll put the description. I mean the information, and then maybe is there a website, Alka, that people can go and contact you also?
But they can contact me mainly on Instagram for now.
Okay. Okay. We'll put that description into the info description section, and then so people can reach out to you. Also, follow Alka at her
Ask the experts.
Yeah, ask the expert with Alka. So it's a great show about real estate and mindset. So there will be a lot to learn. Thanks again, Alka. You've been great. We'll talk to you in near future soon here.
Perfect. Thank you, Adeel. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in to the Adeel Pirzada podcast. This is episode 15. For commercial construction inquiries, if you're looking for a quote for general contracting or design services, visit pircongroup.com and let them know if you reach out that you reached out from for some reason my mic is not here, but tell them that you're reaching out from the Adeel Pirzada podcast. Pircongroup.com. Go to their website for a quote.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.